Noodle, do the noodle dance. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Don't tell me you don't remember that show. It was a classic. I got a game today against ItzPBandJTime, and I thought this game was pretty cool. Quite a recent one as well. The Smogon Battle Finder has been down for the past few days. I think it's back up again now. I'll probably try for some games later on, but yeah, this one's actually one of the more recent ones, and I thought it was pretty cool, so let's get into it. Now, gonna lead with the legendary Shrew Manchu, as he does lead with Braviary here. Now, whenever I see Braviary, I kind of go on the assumption that it's going to be Choice Scarfed, and it's going to have, what, Brave Bird, U-Turn, Superpower, and I don't know what its last move even is. Retaliate? Is that what it normally carries? It's kind of funny, like Sork and Braviary, I always kind of expect to be Choice Scarfers, but I never really know what that final move is because I never ever see it get used. But gonna go for a knockoff on the incoming War Turtle here, which is nice. I guess he predicted Stealth Rock, which is fair enough. Now I go into Grumpig here just to take the Scold, and I figure even if he does get the burn, not too big a deal because I do have the Heal Bell, so I can hopefully use that at some point. Now getting the knockoff on this guy is definitely going to come into play a bit later on, as you'll see. And War Turtle is definitely one of the better rapid spinners in the NU tier. You got what? Sandshrew, War Turtle, Tentacle, those are pretty much the only ones I tend to use. Now I think he predicts my T-Wave, or I don't know what he predicted, but it was a good prediction nonetheless. Goes into Onyx and obviously takes nothing from that. Now I'm going to go for Taunt just because I've never seen many Onyxes get used, but the ones I have seen get used have had like Roar, Dragon Tail, Sleep Talk, and Rest, that kind of thing. But he goes for Stealth Rock, and, you know, obviously that's good to stop that from happening. Now, looking at it, I probably should have gone for Heal Bell here, because there's not really too much that an Onyx can do to Grumpig anyway, but I guess my thinking was he might go into Braviary. Oh, Rock Slide! That's what his last move is. Sheer Force Rock Slide. Got it. Now, I go into Shiftry here, and I figure I may as well switch back into Shrew Manchu, because he's probably going to want to switch out to probably Braviary. And that kind of works out for me because he does go back to Braviary. I go to Shrew Manchu, and it does mean that I can now get up my Stealth Rocks on whatever he does, because even if he stays in and Brave Birds, it's not going to do too much to me. Probably a 2-hit kill, but not even worried. Shrew Manchu cares not for your Brave Birds. Now he goes to War Turtle again, which was a good play because, you know, obviously he can just rapid spin away my rocks straight away. And I kind of figure, you know what, no point in even risking Sandshrew. I kind of need it for Braviary, so I'm going to switch out to Lapras. If he does go for Scold, that's fine. I at least get the Water Absorb going on. Actually, tell you the truth, I don't even have Water Absorb on this one. I think I have Shell Armor on. Hydration's also good if you have a Rain team, but gonna take the Rapid Spin pretty well, obviously, because it's Rapid Spin, and that was a completely redundant thing to say. Now I'm going to Shelob just to take a Toxic. See, I didn't know he had Toxic, but I was like, okay, let's just test it. Let's see if he has it. And yeah, it turns out it does, so gonna go for Home Claws, which could have been kind of risky because War Turtle 99% of the time will carry Scold, and definitely would not appreciate a burn on good old Ariados here. But he goes for Scold, does a roundabout a third-ish, and, you know, I don't get burned luckily. Go for Cross Poison, and even though it's probably max defense, bold nature, whatever, it's still going to do a pretty good chunk now that I've got rid of the Eviolite, so that's always good. Now he's going to Scold me again, and that's going to do a pretty good chunk, and the fact that I have Life Orb means that I can only live one more hit. So I'm just going to go for an X-Scissor on the off chance he does want to bring in Onyx again, and, you know, Cross Poison, yeah, you could go for the Poison chance, but it's only like 10%, so yeah, let's go for X-Scissor. Get some decent damage on the Onyx, and yeah, that's not bad. I mean, a third to Onyx, and over half to a War Turtle. That's not too bad, so good job, Ariados. Now I bring in Lapras here, and I just go for Dragon Dance. I kind of figure he's either going to switch, or he's going to set up rocks, and either way, I can just get up a Dragon Dance and hopefully kill him off. Now he does get up rocks, which is probably a good play, because it does mean I have to rapid spin them away at some point if I don't want Wee Nessie here, and whoever else I've got weak to Stealth Rocks taking a quarter damage. So I go for a Waterfall. Eviolite Onyx has pretty good defense, but not good enough to take that, I'm afraid. So it's going to go down. Now, I'm thinking that Lapras could possibly get off a sweep here, but this is kind of the key moment here. If I had gone for an Ice Shard here, I could have probably 2-hit KO'd this thing. But I switch out thinking, okay, he's probably going to Giga Drain, and Sunflora actually has pretty good special attack, so I don't want to take that, but either he predicts my switch, or he figures Ice Shard's going to do nothing. So he goes for a Sunny Day, and I go to Exploud. Luckily for me, I do have the Fire Blast, so I can kind of abuse the sun in a way. Go for a Fire Blast, and I have no idea what Sunflora's special defense is, but it probably wouldn't have taken it too well anyway. And he has a Focus Sash, so no worries. Now he goes for a Solar Beam, and Sunflora going for a Solar Beam is pretty scary, I have to say. I think it actually has like 120, 130... I'm just kind of pulling numbers out of the air here, but the point is it actually has good base special attack, and by some miracle, Exploud actually lives that, and I go for another Fire Blast. That's going to take him out, which is great. I do actually have a Choice Scarf on this guy, by the way, so, you know, I didn't bother switching up moves at all. Now he brings in War Turtle, and I figure, okay, he looked to be physically defensive, and he's got no Violite, and it's a Fire Blast, so that should be able to kill that kind of range. And it does, which is great. So down goes War Turtle. Now he brings in Braviary, and if he's Choice Scarfed, he will definitely outspeed me, and obviously it turns out he is, because he does. Just take the U-turn, and I figured I may as well sack Exploud at that point, because, you know, he'd die to rocks, and I'd have to bring in Sandshrew and whatever. It kind of worked out easier in that situation. So he's going to bring in Glaceon, and I figure the best guy to take on a Glaceon will be probably Grumpig, because I'm a Special Wall, I have Thick Fat. And even though it does commonly carry the Shadow Ball, I figure I can probably take one. So I go for a T-Wave just to try and cripple this thing. Somehow I'm faster, which kind of makes me think he's probably like a modest Choice Specs variant or something. I don't know, I mean, I guess it's possible to have two Choice Scarfers, but at the time that's what I was thinking really. So he goes for a Shadow Ball. Actually he gets full Paralyze on the first turn, which is kind of unfortunate, but does mean I can get off a nice little Psychic, and that is going to do a decent chunk of damage to the Glaceon. Then he kills me off with the Shadow Ball, and looking at the damage I took from burn and stuff, I can't really tell if that is Choice Specs or not, so I'm just going to bring in Sandshrew next, because I know that I outspeed because he is Paralyzed. Now the cool thing is here, I can get off my Stealth Rocks regardless of what happens, because, you know, he probably expects the Rapid Spin here, because he's going to go into his Golurk. That being said, I don't really mind the Rocks too much, even though I do have my Lapras still left. So I'm going to go for Rocks, just because it will wear down the Glaceon, and what else does he have left? Braviary, I think, so it'll be handy for that too. Now he goes for Shadow Punch, and I was kind of thinking, yeah, Golurk can't really do too much to Sandshrew, I'm a physical wall. No. That Shadow Punch did way more than I expected. Now, I know it does get the Iron Fist ability from, actually not from the Dream World, it's his normal ability. Gets Iron Fist, and even so, I was looking at the damage and I was thinking, right, that's probably Choice Banded, because that is way too much damage for a regular Golurk. So I bring in Shiftry here, and I should have bought my physical Shiftry here. That would have been a lot easier in this game, but for this particular gameplay, I decided to bring my special variant for some reason. Now he brings in Glaceon, and I just go for a nice little Dark Pulse, just to get some damage on the Golurk, but Glaceon, yep, I'll take it as well. Now, for some reason on this Shiftry, right, I had this kind of weird moment of thinking, Beat Up? Why does no one use Beat Up? That's a pretty cool move. Now, Beat Up is interesting because it works on your base physical attack stat as opposed to your actual physical attack stat. So you can have it on a special attacker and it will still do the same amount of damage, right? Unfortunately, the reason no one uses Beat Up is because it relies on having a lot of team members left. And to be honest, you could probably have, like, you know, Sucker Punch would have been a lot more useful here because I would have got some damage on the Braviary. And, you know, Night Slash, or does it get Night Slash? You know what I mean, just general other dark attacks, really. But yeah, I mean, Beat Up, it has some potential on, like, a lead Sneasel or something, like a Choice-banded Sneasel. That could work pretty well, but in any case, bringing Wee Nessie here, figuring, okay, whatever he does, I can probably do some decent damage to his team. I have the Ice Shard, I have the Waterfall, it's all good stuff. Now, I am max speed, and I'm assuming he is Choice-banded, and therefore he shouldn't be faster than me. Again, I don't know Golurk's base speed, but Looking at it, it doesn't really look particularly fast. It's a big, you know, ghost robot thing. I don't imagine that being particularly fast. So I go for a waterfall, that takes him out, which is great. Now here comes Braviary, and he's going to take some rocks damage, of course. Now it all comes down to whether or not I can actually take him out with an Ice Shard. I am max attack, adamant nature, stab, Ice Shard coming from a Lapras, half health Braviary. Can I take him out? The health is going down, 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 and unfortunately, not all the way, and Lapras is going to take a retaliatory, if that's even a word, superpower, and that is going to absolutely wreck Lapras because obviously not a defensive one, Ice type, all that good stuff. So, yep, really close game, and a bit unfortunate that I didn't actually manage to get up a Dragon Dance towards the end. I kind of figured I wouldn't be able to take any single attack from Golurk, so I pretty much had to. But yeah, really interesting game. Really interesting to see stuff like Sunflora and Golurk being used. I know Golurk is kind of new from RU, so technically it's going to be one of the better Pokemon in the tier, but it is technically one of the first times I've ever actually seen it, so I find it pretty interesting. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and with that being said, I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.